What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I have been up since a little while. I've been messing around with like my controllers and stuff. I've been doing this for a while. I am experienced with like taking stuff apart. I've been doing this since I was a child, just taking apart stuff. We did it at a camp that I used to go to called Camp Invention. Shout out Camp Invention. Amazing place. That's how I became who I am today and how I got so invested in technology. For anybody who has seen my videos before, I have done pool content before, and yes, I have gotten new glasses, but I wanted to kind of let you guys in on some of my hobbies. Like, here, let me show you. I recently built the desk that I'm sitting at right now. I literally built it today, and I would like to show you what I like to call the graveyard. It is a drawer. It is a drawer that is full of just controllers that I've taken apart. Here, let me change the lights so that you guys can see better. So, I've just taken apart controller after controller, about 4, but I've repaired controllers before too, and as you can see, I've got this little box full of tons of parts. Now, just recently, I had taken apart my first third-party controller, or at least I can assume it's third-party controller. It doesn't have the exact same technology as a first-party Switch controller. It doesn't have the same layout as a first-party controller. It doesn't have the same screws or anything. It's all different, which I find impressive. If you couldn't already tell, I'm a huge tech nerd. I love technology. For comparison, I usually only take apart left Joy-Cons because those are the only ones that I have that have been broken. They're not completely broken, they just stopped working. But what I want to share with you guys today is some of the stuff that I've found. So let's start with what it looks like on the outside. This is the third-party controller that I've taken apart. And for comparison, this is what the case of a regular first-party Switch left Joy-Con looks like. First party, third party. Now, as you can tell, there's already some differences. Like, this here is a lot more square. This here is a lot more shaped to the, as you can see, this minus button here, the menu button is square on this side. You can kind of see that this hole is a bit wider than this. These are circular, whereas this is a lot more rectangular, more pentagon. This is square, whereas this is circular. And that's about the extent. But another thing is, it's minor details, but if you look at the middle of the area and here, they're not the same color as the outside of the body. So now, if I open this up, which I've already taken out all the screws, so don't think I'm just like tearing this thing apart. All the screws have been taken out. This is the back of a third party, and this is the back of a first party. As you can tell, you could already see some differences, like this circular bit here and this rectangular bit here. I do have some other bits that I have off to the side here that I'll show you in a minute. Next, the middle. This is where the batteries are held and where the ZL in this case would be. So I'll explain another thing that I found later on this, on the third party, that I didn't find on the first party, which I find also impressive, like their choice of kind of moving things around and changing things. I find it a lot more impressive the way they just change some stuff around. And then finally, we have the insides. So for starters, you can notice right off the bat, this has a black outline, whereas the third party doesn't. Same with, complete with other stuff that you've noticed before, that people may have noticed before. Same with the front of the body. This has a circular at the base, whereas this has rectangular. Change the lights again. There you go. This makes it a lot easier. So next I want to get into some smaller stuff, like stuff you only find if you, well, you'd already only find this stuff if you opened it up, but I'm going to show you like difference in batteries and difference in all of this niche technology stuff. Let's start off with the batteries. This is what a Switch controller battery looks like. And yes, I did just pop this in. If I pop this out, you can see it's a lot like, it's black, it's got all this, it's got this black outline, it's got this little wire hanging off. It's kind of hard to see, but the end just kind of hooks in to the motherboard, which I'll show in a minute. And next, the battery on the third party. The battery on the third party has no warning labels. It's still got the stickiness to it, and it's hard to see in the camera since I'm filming this just like on my phone. But also inside there's like a chip that hooks up to the rest of the battery, and this has a different jack that hooks into the motherboard differently compared to the normal Switch battery. Now, next, I want to get into actually joystick differences. So, these are some of the joysticks that I've pulled off of my other controllers, as you saw before. This is a Switch joystick. It's got a nice round top, simple bottom. I think this one's, yeah, so this one doesn't work. You can tell when it's stopped working if there's a bulge at the bottom of the joystick. There's a slight bulge at the bottom, which is kind of hard to tell in this one, but if it only clicks when you have your finger on the other end, but not when you just push it up, then it's broken. This one isn't, as I've just learned. But next, I want to show you the third party. It has a flat top. It's got a whole extra bit with a strange stranger wire compared. Now, I'm not a tech whiz by any means. I'm just really into technology, so I thought I'd share some of this stuff with you. If people in the comments know more than me, please inform me. I would love to learn more. I'm looking at you, Mudahar, from Some Ordinary Gamers. Love your content. But if you look here, there's pins with some soldering on the other side. There's a whole chip inside that is visible to the naked eye, whereas with this you would have to pry it open to see what's actually inside, get the meat and potatoes out. Now, before the motherboard is the final bit. The motherboard is going to be the final bit. I don't care what any of you say. That is the final bit. I want to show this. So there is actually no difference between this, between the switch, base switch, first party controller, and the third party switch docking controller. I don't even know if I have the right dock for the switch, and for the switch and non-switch controllers. Non-switch, quote unquote. But this is, in my opinion, very interesting. Now, is there anything left? I guess I can show you this. So, the D-pad for the, let me see if I can pull out D-pad buttons. The D-pad for the base switch, as any of you would know, is comprised of 4 individual buttons. They are non-linked in any way and are presumably interchangeable. These are what the 4 buttons... Oops. These are what the 4 buttons... This is what the 4 buttons look like. They're kind of hard to see since it's 1 o'clock in the morning. And I can't turn on the lights because my parents will get upset at me. But this is the D-pad. It's a standard X D-pad with all 4 buttons linked. So if you do it right, you could press 2 buttons on the opposite ends and end up pressing all 4 directions at the same time. Now, behind every single controller or D-pad, they have these smaller, like, rubbery silicone pads. The ones that they used here were a lot more clear and easy to see through, which I find interesting. And I don't know about this one. So, ZL, is this the right one? I think this is it. So, the bumper here is a lot more accentuated as to first-party controllers, which have a lot more of a thinner bump. And there's no difference on the trigger, so there's no point in showing that. Let me put all this stuff back. What I find really interesting is Z and L. ZL and L, the triggers. This is what it looks like for for the base button. I think this is the menu button. Actually, no, this is ZL. This is ZL for a base controller. This little bit here is L, or no, yeah, this little bit here, I'm jiggling here, is L, and this little bit here is ZL, or not ZL. This is the menu button. They're separate, connected by a wire that is melted onto the plate. Same here, so there's no way of removing this, but they're separate, which is still. Did I drop it? I dropped it. Where'd it go? Where'd I drop this? Here it is. Underneath the desk. We're in Hades. We're in Hades' domain. But this is the third-party chip. Right here is menu. Right here is L. And on the back you have ZL. Which I find interesting, the fact that people are using, or third parties are doing techniques such as that. So another thing is this wire connects ZL, L, and menu to the motherboard, which I'll show in a second after another sensor, I think. But notice this one's detachable. I've fully taken it off of the chip. It's gone. Gone. It's gone. It's in my fingers off the chip. Which is another thing that I find fun. The colors, I like the colors. I like the difference in colors. It's funny. And now for the meat and potatoes, the main event. I will show you, this is a right controller. The middle here is for the joystick. Here's the back. It's got all your blips and bobbles and stuff. On the front, we have the button interface. Right here is plus. Right down here, right underneath right in between my fingers, that's home. But that's right controller. This is base left controller. So as you can see here, we've got this cutout for the joystick. We've got all the areas to hook in your wires. Then we've got this button interface here. But it's hard to see in the video, but there's a lot more going on here than here. This one has next to it, it's almost just a flat color. It's almost just a flat background. Whereas this has like white writing, code, circuits, and shit. Sorry for swearing. Button interface, not highlighted in white, and right here is screenshot. Just like how right here is screenshot, but they're different. Look at all that's going on back here. Side by side. So much more soldering, so much more chips, so much more plugins. And I can show you right now, there's so much to it. Finally, we have these sensors. I think these are motion sensors. Although the motion sensors are usually on the right control. I think these might be the vibrations, the vibrators. Don't take that out of context. This is the vibrating chip on the third party. As you can see, just like the battery, has a plug-in. And here is the rectangular on the first party, where it's got plug-in again, but a lot smaller. I have no idea why there are these differences. maybe there's some optimization going on between the first party and the third party. But I find these differences really interesting because when you look at one way and the other way, you can see differences. Seeing the differences allows you to decide which might be better. It also allows you to compare and contrast. Having differences isn't bad by any means. In fact, this third-party controller that I had worked better than any first party I ever had. In fact, the controllers that I use currently are third parties. Albeit joysticks were messed up, but that's standard with any that's standard for any Joy-Con. But it's not hard to innovate. All you have to do is just pull some wires safely, maybe have some eye protection, and just have fun. I have been pulling controllers apart for years now, for about 2-3 years now, and sometimes I literally just roam around in my friend's like junk drawer for broken controllers just to see if they'll let me take them. Usually they say no, but there was one time and I lost the controller. Not fun. But listen, all I'm saying is if you want to learn, if you want to have fun and you want to learn at the same time, maybe try take apart. It's my favorite pastime. It's my favorite hobby. Try take apart. Grab a toolkit. Grab some old broken machines that are preferably not hooked up to anything electric, because that might cause problems. But just try taking apart some stuff. Maybe turn it into a pastime. You can learn so much, and it's really fun. Hell, I'm going to continue making these videos where I allow you guys to check up on my the controller graveyard, as I call it. My plan is to make the ultimate controller from just like bits and bubbles from other pieces. I got a Ziploc bag full of tech. I've got all these old pieces just kind of smashed together for the... Really, all these pieces stuck together so that I can make the frames fit together. And it's just all around really fun. Getting into controllers, getting into like, how does it function? How is it all put together? What's the man behind the mirror? Who is the man behind the mirror? What is it hiding behind this veil of perfection? What makes this thing tick? That is my biggest question that I answer, and sometimes even fail to answer many times. It's my favorite thing to do. I love taking old machinery apart. And I wish I could do it more. But I've got stuff to do, so sometimes I can't. So that's why I turned it into my hobby. Pastime, I just I just start rummaging through the trash and find old controllers. Take those old controllers, pull them apart, figure out what makes them tick, throw the controllers into my graveyard of dead controllers, and just kind of mess around. It's really fun, and I wish more people did it. Anyways, that's going to be it for today, or tonight. Like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. And I'll see you guys in the next controller checkup. That's what I'll call it. This is controller checkup. I've been your resident mummifier of controllers, and I'll see you in the next one.